soup? Welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I am Morrow, your storyteller for today, and with me we have some more RPG horror stories. Nothing really to say for the intro, just a reminder that these stories are an exception to the rule. I know that sometimes when you just consume and binge a lot of RPG horror stories, it may look like there are just so many horrible games happening everywhere. I feel like the only reason people really don't talk about their glory stories is because everybody's just busy having fun playing actual D&D or TTRPGs and having a good time into a session. They're busy playing instead of busy writing about horror stories that happened to them. But I think it's important to learn from horror stories, especially for new upcoming DMs, of what not to do and what kind of red flags to look out for. Speaking of, we got some more RPG horror stories for today, so let's go ahead and jump into them. My tale of betrayal and discomfort. Last night, D&D's 5e session left me completely miserable, and I just need to vent about what happened. I'm a female player in a mostly male group. We've been playing for a few months now, and everything seems fine until our last session. Our DM, let's call him Dave, has always been a bit intense, but I never expected him to cross the line like he did. We were in the middle of a crucial battle, and my character, a rogue, was in a tight spot. That's when Dave announced that my character had been captured by the enemy leader, a vile sorcerer. What happened next was just appalling. I'm assuming there was some sort of like a saving throw or something. He just didn't go like, oh, okay, you captured now and that's it. Because that would suck. Instead of a typical capture scenario, Dave described in graphic detail how the sorcerer began to torment and degrade my character in a very gender-specific and inappropriate way. I was stunned. I looked around for support from my fellow players, but they seemed just as shocked and unsure of what to do. By gender specific, do they mean like a sex dungeon? Yeah? Yep. Of course. Every terrible DM, every weirdo out there has some sort of a thing with a sex dungeon. If you're captured, you're not captured in a regular dungeon, it's a sex dungeon. Every time. I tried to steer this scenario back to the game by suggesting an escape plan, but Dave just kept adding more disturbing elements to the situation. It felt like he was getting a kick out of it, making me uncomfortable. I finally had enough, stood up, and told him that this wasn't acceptable. Instead of apologizing, he accused me of not being able to handle a realistic RPG experience. Sex dungeons aren't a realistic RPG experience unless you're playing a hentai RPG game. In that point, then yes, it's a realistic hentai RPG experience, but then just be honest about it. I don't understand these DMs. I genuinely have no idea. I don't know what he means by realistic RPG experience. It would be one thing to be captured and tortured like anybody else, but to get sexually captured and sexually tortured, which I'm pretty sure what is implied here, in a sex dungeon of a sex BBG, probably because that's what it is, a sex sorcerer. Just be honest, you're just a fetish freak that wants to run a fetish game, and you just want to impose this sort of fetish game onto your players because that's what you think is, that's what you get a kick out of. That's what Dave gets a kick out of. Dave, why do you do these things, Dave? Dave, why do you have a sex dungeon? And no, it's not referring to the Dave that's in a comment section sometimes. It's not about you, Dave. But if the DM tries to make you feel bad because he says that you can't handle a realistic RPG experience or whatever, what have you, because it's not a realistic RPG experience, numbnuts. It's a weird fetish game that you're trying to impose onto everybody. And listen, I know nothing was sexual mentioned like a sex torture or something, but a gender-specific torture experience kind of means it's like, oh, you're a girl, let me do weird, disgusting things to you and flounder you and stuff. That's what I imagine as like a gender-specific like torture experience being. I don't know about you, maybe I'm just assuming things too much, but to me, it seems like it's a sex dungeon scenario. So I'm gonna take it as that. I love this session and haven't decided if I'll go back. This experience has really soured me on the whole group. RPGs are supposed to be fun, not a platform for someone's disturbing fantasies. Hey, bingo! I called it. Has anyone else experienced something like this? How did you handle it? I haven't experienced anything like this, thank God. But the best and the easiest thing to do, get out while you can, just run away, don't deal with this, just go. Literally just go. It's not worth staying. It's really not worth staying, trust me. You'd be much better off doing anything else in the world except this. Anything else in the world. Bang her or she dies. The title is an exaggeration, but that's how it felt at the time. I still like the group and we're still playing together, but this one situation was quite something. This from the same group as Sir Loveless, by the way. Oh yeah, this story about Sir Loveless that wanted to get his like biggest blue balls off or whatever. I remember that. I'll try to see if I can link it in the comment section or not the comment section, the description. If I don't, somebody remind me. We're now a few weeks into playing together, still as a 3-man party consisting of DM, Rogue, quite tabaxi player, Cleric, dwarf worshipping a homebrew love goddess, Warlock, me. We're now in a part of the story where we got swept into a local politics, basically the crown of the good guys being screwed over by the nobles that want to squeeze the populace for every coin possible. We gained the trust of the king, so he talked with us about an important mission to escort a team of spies and specialists to another city. Basically something about being unknown to the nobility would keep the team safer with the king's guard. So we head out, and what do you know, we get immediately ambushed by a ton of bandits. Not much of an issue for the party since we're level 5 now, and I started slinging fireballs from my fiend patron spell list. Hell yeah! Some of the bandits try to surrender, but we had decided that it's not worth keeping them alive, and we'd rather reap some juicy XP. So we get to the last bandit, and the DM says, she's like, please don't kill me, I'll do anything you want. You can have my body, anything. And now I feel really bad about it because in my mind this poor girl would lower herself that much just to stay alive. So I tell the others that I don't want to take advantage of her. Rogue says, so then we kill her like the rest? I say no, just let her go. While she's cute, it wouldn't be consensual anyway. DM tries to make matters worse by having her undress while saying slowly, I consent. Whoa, DM, hold on, whoa. The player said, we're gonna let you go. And the DM is like, oh, perfect. I'm just gonna make the girl undress now and say she consents. Why? I mean, the DM did say that some sexual things were okay, and were very adamant against Sir Loveless having their blue balls satisfied because they basically lost all the squires. But for the DM to turn around and do this now, it's kinda strange. Cleric says she said she's consenting. My fate demands that we let consensual love flourish. Me and Rogue can partake because we're a couple. I say FML. So we keep bickering there while the poor girl is laying there half naked. I keep insisting we let her go, and the Rogue fires back with something that still gives me whiplash. So you're against sex workers? Sex is a commodity, and this was a freely given as sex work. I say no, not at all. I love sex workers, but I would probably accept her offer if the other option wasn't that she dies. Rogue accused me of having a double standard because I was happy to kill all the other bandits that didn't offer up their booty. Yo, this is weird. Okay, this conversation has gotten really weird. I don't know why did this devolve into like, oh, but she's offering herself, she's consenting, so it's now weird and kind of crappy if you don't screw with her. The only fair options are either you kill her or you pork her. You can't just let her go. She's already naked right there, just laying for you. She's offering herself. This is a really strange conversation to have with players. It's really strange. Why is the only decision here is either the girl dies or you bang the girl, not just, you know, let her go? It's weird. She literally begged for her life. No other bandit begged for their life. Oh wait, no, they did actually. Maybe this is a double standard thing. I don't know, dude. This story is confusing. Does somebody make sense of this? Because I am thoroughly confused. I could have handled the situation better, and there probably were better arguments I could have made, but I just wanted to move on, so I said, fine, I'll accept her offer and spare her life. So I have my character go back to the girl and kiss her on the cheek and saying, there, you can go now. And that kind of diffused the whole situation. Cleric thinks it's valid and we can move on. The only situation so far that truly made me sweat being put on a spot like that. How would you have handled it? I guess what I would do is, if somebody decided to give up in mid-battle, I would let them, but then tell them to drop all the valuables, all their coin, the weapons, any sort of shields, armor, whatever have you, whatever they could be made profit off of. Maybe use detect magic to see if they're hiding some sort of magic item on them and then force them to drop it or threaten their lives. It's a really weird situation. I definitely wouldn't be asking for sex favors because that's kind of weird. Edit 1. I don't think the DM took it very seriously. He was grinning the whole time during the argument from what I could see on the camera. Edit 2. It was clear from the start when I joined the group that sexual themes could happen, including possible non-canon stuff at the hands of the baddies to other NPCs. Edit 3, DM awards full XP for kills and half XP for sparing yielding enemies. I think Rogue got mad at me for denying her full XP by wanting to spare the last bandit. Maybe it's like a weird, silly situation for the sake of being a silly situation, and maybe it's really unnecessary to read into it. If everybody agreed to this whole situation in the first place and is okay with mild sexual themes and stuff, and this is as far as it went, I think it's a problem avoided kind of situation, you know? I think the biggest problem here is maybe using the XP system, because it's sort of encouraged urges the players now to kill for all the XP instead of spare for half the XP, which means players might become kind of murder hobo-y without meaning to, and it sort of becomes a problem because, well, now the players are bloodthirsty and I want to kill everything. It might be good to just switch to a milestone system and just make it so that the character's progression story-wise, how they level up, instead of having to kill X amount of this and that, you know? If it's an XP-based system, then everything is about killing things and stuff. It's just, I don't know. Maybe the XP system is not the problem, or maybe it is. I don't know. Either way, it seems like it was a problem situation that kind of got averted because players handled the situation really well, and the DM didn't push too hard into the situation. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Tricked by a homebrew system. I played a homebrew game with an entire homebrew rule system in Appleseed Universe, the manga, created by our DM and one of his friends. I didn't know the manga then, nor do I know now, so I don't even know if what I'm going to tell you is normal or not on this universe. I've never read or seen Appleseed or know anything about it, so it's new for me as well. Let's see what it is. Basically, magic is everywhere, and almost anyone can use magic, except for cyborgs who have cut themselves out of magic. As a huge mage player, I'm happy to play in such a world. We explain the system. There are 4 elements that you can combine to create 4 others. You can mix opposite elements. Fire and air create energy damage, fire and earth create metal, protection, earth and water make wood, heal, water and air create mist, illusion. The energy element is the one doing the biggest damage, so I decided to go for a war mage and pick it. We start playing and it goes mostly well. Except for our mist mage who makes himself invisible, only to be spotted immediately by a cyborg enemy. He has bionic eyes made to see through magic, so he sees you. Do you see where this is going? Is this going to be one of those things where the magic system is just completely underpowered compared to the cyborgs, like augmentations? Is that what it is? Is that what they're implying? We didn't pick it up at this point, so we kept playing and go through our first session. Next one begins, we're almost immediately in a huge fight. I cast a blast, which honestly was the biggest damage I've inflicted in this game. Everyone was hyped, thinking I heavily wounded the enemy. He lost his left sleeve. Like, that's all. I disintegrated his left sleeve and we could all see his bare arm unarmed. He's equipped with an anti-magic gear, so he can't suffer too much from magic. Bro, that was not even a cyborg, just a dude. And my damages were not just reduced, they were basically nullified. I'm a war mage, supposed to inflict a tremendous amount of damage, and I couldn't even scratch him. And that wasn't specifically his outfit. I tried attacking his exposed arm, nothing more. For the rest of the fight, I was made to cast shield. Pretty bad ones, as the best protection element is metal and earth that I didn't pick at all, while watching the melee fighters deal with the fight. We kept playing after that, and I used some utilitarian spells like flying, air, and such, but nothing from what I originally intended. Next fight, I hope this was just bad luck and that last guy was just way too well prepared. Nope, basically no damage from my all-powerfully heavy damage spells. And again, shield, shield, shield. If you're gonna have a magic system and you're gonna have like cyborgs that can just negate the system, what is the point of even having the magic system? If you have a war mage class or spec or subclass, subspec, I don't know, you're constantly casting the most damage dealing abilities and they don't work, it feels like you made a terrible choice and the DM sort of never even warned you about this kind of choice. It would be nice if the DM was like, hey, maybe you don't want to pick this, but you want to pick this because this is going to be a lot more useful and effective. But theoretically, if you're sold on the idea that you're a warcaster and combining fire and air to make energy and you're just shooting energy blasts at everybody, that should theoretically do the biggest amount of damage, but it's constantly negated by everything and just countered. It sucks, man. I've been actually several bad games that I no longer want to be in, but basically I started noticing that my Eldritch Blast was being resisted more and more and more and more, and more enemies started having natural force resistance to Eldritch Blast. Unless I was attacking an enemy that was like CR 1/2 or 1/4 or something, any single challenging enemy like CR 1 and stuff, for whatever reason, just suddenly started having force resistance. And like, I get it, like Eldritch Blast sometimes can be pretty powerful. I understand it's a very powerful cantrip, and with enough augmentations from the warlock class, you can make it super powerful and stuff. And then you finally play in the game where your entire kit, your Eldritch Blasts, your fire spells, and your thunder spells, everything has resistance to it, and suddenly it's just like, man, what's the point of even playing anymore, man? This sucks. I played with DMs before that are very anti-caster, and I'll find every possible way to homebrew some nonsense to try to screw the casters over, but not the marshals. And it sucks, man. It sucks. It's like the worst time playing as a caster when there's nothing you could do except some support spells, when your entire kit is meant to be offensive. It sucks. I have some support spells to offer to the party, but not if every single enemy is resistant to everything on my offensive kit. That just sucks, man. Even worse, as I was going for a war mage, I pushed most of the character creation into it, with every few other skills developed. So apart from roleplay situations, he wasn't much of a help on many other cases. I wasn't the most intuitive one, or the most perceptive one, or the most social one. And let's not talk about physical ability. On every other situation, we had someone better suited than me. Fight was supposed to be my forte, and I was as efficient as a swing in the wind. Pretty quick I asked our DM how everyone just so strong gets magic, and I got my answer. Magic is everywhere, so of course people have learned to protect themselves from it. And that was it. He made us play in a world full of magic where magic is useless. He watched me create a character entirely focused on battle magic without telling me that I would be of no use in that world. I got more and more bored playing the game, so I ended up quitting silently. And I don't think they'll really miss my character. Man, that sucks. For real. There's nothing worse than having the DM actively let you build a character and without even giving you any guidelines or hints like, hey dude, magic is everywhere. You may want to pick up some abilities and spells that counter magic protection or something like that. It would have been nice for the DM to give some sort of pointers. I understand some players aren't cool and don't think the DM should be hovering over player decision and stuff, but the only other solution is the player that basically builds themselves around being a war mage, and none of them war magic spells even functional work. They can only do things like shield and fly, and that's it. And their entire kit is just useless and unusable. It's the same thing as making a crowd control caster in D&D, but suddenly every enemy is just immune to any sort of conditions. Charmed, nope. Fear, nope. Petrified, nope. Paralyzed, nope. Stunned, nope. Prone, nope. No conditions for you. You now have a whole spell list full of useless spells. You can't deafen anybody, you can't fear anybody, you can't charm anybody. Good job, idiot. Made a kit full of useless spells. It just sucks, man. It sucks. DMs that do this sort of thing, they suck. They suck because they're not letting player play what they want to play, or at least guide the player in the right direction. At least tell the player, hey, you gotta have a world with a lot of magic is kind of like preventative or countered, so you may want to grab some counter spells or some nonsense like that. I don't know, man. A little bit of guidance would have helped for a new player in a homebrew world. Would have been nice. And with that, that's gonna be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales Tomorrow. Bye-bye.